Welcome to Home Organizing for Beginners. I am Tammy, your home organizing educator. In each episode, I share a microscopic home organizing topic. That just means it's something you can actually implement today from start to finish if you so choose. Today's microscopic topic is all about entryway organization. Maybe you call it your foyer, maybe you call it your mudroom. No matter what it's called, it is the main point of entry into your home. It's where the kids come in from school and drop their backpacks. It's where you come in from work and kick your shoes off and maybe hang up one of your own bags. Hopefully you're able to hang it up, and hopefully the kids are, hanging their coats up and hanging their backpacks up. But I live in reality, and I know that most kids don't do that. And I know for myself, sometimes I am too tired to even bother, and I just kick my shoes off and throw them wherever as well, right? That happens. Life gets busy, we get frustrated, we get stressed out. That's real life, and that's okay. So, in this episode, I'm going to share with you 5 steps that are going to help you really get this space organized. This is usually the messiest space in the house, don't you think? It's where everybody's coming and going from. I kind of laugh at my husband and I because when we built our house many years ago, we were smart enough to put our main entryway behind closed doors. Like you walk in from the garage and you can kick everything off and the kids can leave their stuff late and we can close the doors. Nobody has to see it. However, our front door, nobody actually uses, so everybody comes through our main entryway. So, yeah, we didn't plan that out too well, and it really just comes down to the fact that everybody parks by the garage because we literally have no parking near the front door. It's kind of a miss on our part. But anyhow, there's something I want to know. I want to know what your first thought is when you think about organizing your entryway. Does it immediately go to what's it going to look like? I want it to look nice. I want people to feel welcome when they come into my house. And if the house doesn't look nice or that entryway doesn't look nice, then it's not good. They're not going to feel good about coming into my house. It's a mess. But I want you to think a little bit differently. I want you to stop yourself from immediately going there, and we are going to think through a different way, one that's going to help us sustain the organizing that we put in place and give us a nice looking space. We just can't start with how it looks. Instead, we have to start with how it functions. Okay, so that's step number 1. I'm going to have you focus on the function over the fashion. And the fashion just means the decor. You're not going to worry about what containers you're going to put in the space. You're not going to worry about what shoe rack you need. We're not going to worry about any of that right now. Instead, we're going to start with an agreement to focus on the function over the fashion. So in the online course that I offer called Home Organizing for Beginners, and you can learn more at homeorganizingforbeginners.com, I teach you why you want to focus on the function and exactly how to do that in every area of your home, even when society is pushing us to worry about what it looks like first. I teach you how to focus on that functionality, and I teach you why you want to. We're going to get into a little bit of it today as we organize this space. So step number 1, agree to focus on the function. Step number 2, start small. We always need to start small. This gives us the best chance for lasting success. Okay, so when you're starting small in your entryway, it's a little bit different. It's maybe not a physical space, but it's more of a set of objects. So I'm going to pick shoes. There's backpacks, there's coats. These are the kinds of things that we have to store in this area or that we have to deal with in this area, right? So I'm going to pick shoes because we have mostly big people in our house now, and shoes are in abundance. We have, the girls have a lot of different. Okay, one of my daughters has a lot of shoes. The other daughter, she's catching up. I myself have a lot of shoes. My husband has several pairs of shoes, and I think my son has Crocs and 1 pair of tennis shoes. But he also has wrestling shoes and he also has football shoes and the list goes on and on. So I've picked shoes because that is what I feel like causes the biggest problem in my home. But you're welcome to pick coats or backpacks, whatever the case may be. So once you select that item, that's what I would consider is starting small. And we're going to get through each of the items or each of the types of items within our entryway. So step number 3, we're going to sort through these items. And basically we're going to decide whether we're keeping them in the area. Maybe like for me, maybe shoes are all ripped out. Like we can throw these things away. Or if shoes are too small now, which we do have some out there right now, those I can donate. I can take those to St. Vinny's. I can take those to Goodwill, whatever the case may be. But basically after this step, we're going to have this pile of stuff that we're going to keep in our entryway. So step number 4, once we know what we're keeping in our entryway, then we're going to organize it. And this is where focusing on the functionality really steps up and shines, if you will. Because let's think about it. Let's think about the shoes. When the kids were little and they were wearing shoes, they're able to take them off themselves, right? They're not kicking them off under a bench like they could today. Instead, they're just throwing them on the floor and they're running in the house begging for something to eat, right? I remember back in the day, I would get home from work, I'd have a baby on my hip, I'd have the 2 littles running around. They would be able to take their shoes and stuff off themselves, but it was such a cluttered area. I would like trip over shoes or trip over bags. And sometimes it was my own bag. I will admit it, right? It's not just our kids that make a mess. But I would trip and I'm like, I got a baby in my arms, man. I don't want to trip over these shoes. This is dangerous stuff, like it can be, right? So when we are putting the things away, and I'm going to stick with shoes, the kids could take their shoes off and put them into a bin, right? And that bin could, for us, it could slide under the bench. I don't want to have a cover on that bin because that would be ridiculous, right? From a functionality standpoint, that would be silly. However, from a visually aesthetic standpoint, having a cover on that bin might look really nice because then you don't see all of the shoes sitting kitty wampus. But functionally, they're not going to take that bin off, put the shoes. I mean, it's hard enough to actually get them to put the shoes into the bins, let alone put a cover back on. So you're really setting yourself up for frustration if you have a bin that requires a cover. It looks nicer, but it's less functional, right? So do you see where I'm coming from with the focusing on the functionality? So when you're organizing the things back into the space, the shoes, you're going to want to have some type of container potentially, or they're going to slide under a bench, something like that. But don't go buy containers yet because we don't know exactly if this functionality that we're thinking is going to work. Okay, so maybe you do have backpacks and jackets and stuff that you want to hang on hooks, but maybe it's not something permanent. Maybe it's something that'll hang over the doorway. Okay, does that make sense? Don't go 110% into your idea. You want to prove it out first. Okay, so that's the organized step. And the last step, this is the sustainability piece. Okay, so there's really kind of 2 different things here. You're gonna write down what you're expecting everybody to do from a functional perspective. It's not necessarily a checklist, but it's I expect my kids to walk in the door and kick their shoes off and slide them with their foot. They don't even have to bend down, slide them underneath the bench. If people don't know what you're expecting, they cannot meet your expectations. Like you have to communicate that. And when you write it down, you're writing it down for your entire family, for your kids, for yourself, for your husband, okay? Because sometimes we need that reminder as well. Because sometimes in the heat of the moment, we forget. And better yet, when you're focusing on the function, really focus on what you would do in the heat of the moment because you're setting yourself up for success then. Okay. The other aspect of sustaining is putting together a time to review how it's going. So if I have these bins in place for the little kids, is it actually working? If you don't come back and ask yourself that in a non-heat of the moment perspective, you're not really doing the whole process justice. You'll get 5 months or 3 months down the road and you'll be like, oh my gosh, there's shoes all over the place, but you won't have any idea because our brains don't really remember things exactly right sometimes. You're not going to know for sure how long things did stay in place and what caused it to fall out of place. Okay? So, no process is ever going to make your home impeccable 100% of the time. Your house could be spick and span 100% of the time if you didn't live in it. But we live our daily lives within our homes. And so they're going to look like they're lived in, and that is absolutely okay. Are you to the point where you just want someone to come into your home to get it clean and organized for you? I get it. I really do. Daily life so easily has us feeling like we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off, right? So what if you could learn how to clean and organize your home in a truly effective and lasting way? That's what the online course Home Organizing for Beginners will teach you. It's so important when cleaning and organizing your home to consider how you and your family live life each day. It's a must to set yourself up for success with a home that you can whip back into shape anytime life gets out of control, because that's what happens, right? So if you go to homeorganizingforbeginners.com, this course is going to give you confidence in your ability to organize your home. It's going to allow you to teach and show your children that they can be organized too, even though they're going to fight you every step of the way on it. It's going to give you foolproof steps to creating a clean and organized home that you will be proud to welcome others into, even when they stop in unannounced. Home Organizing for Beginners, the online course, is going to give you time to spend how you choose. For me, the extra time that I have having an organized home, I've spent that studying the Bible, I've spent that praying. And these things are what have helped me bring true peace and joy into my home. To learn more about the online course, go to homeorganizingforbeginners.com. So that's what I have for you guys today. I hope you have a fun and productive weekend. I'll be back here next week sharing tangible and simple instructions about home organizing, cleaning, and time management. I'll see you then.